Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. My name is Varsha, and now that we are at the end of 2023, and probably when I post this video this will be the last day of 2023, so I thought about talking about the books that I read this year. Each and every book that I read, what I liked in those books, which one are my favorites and which one I didn't like and why I didn't like them. So yeah, this video is about all those books, and without any further ado, let's get started. And also, some of the books I have physical copy of, and some books I read online. So I will be taking the ones that I have physical copy of first, and then after that I will move on to the ones that I read online. So yeah. First I'm going to talk about is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Now this is a fantasy fiction, and I don't really read fantasy fiction. I read Harry Potter, and after that this is the one that I read, and this was gifted by a friend. This book is something which is sweet. It feels like a warm hug. It feels very cozy when you read this one. And this book is about the magical children who are living in orphanage, and this guy Linus who works in this organization that manages these orphanages. Linus's life is extremely mundane. It does not have anything exciting. He has a cat. He goes to office, he comes back home, he dances to the same song every night while cooking food for himself. And he is honest. He is someone who will tell you the truth even if it's an unpleasant one. For that reason, he is selected to go on this island far away, where he has to write reports to the upper management of the Daikomi. Now he is not given enough information about this whole island, this particular orphanage where he is being sent to. He is skeptical about these things, and the little information that he has, he is scared about this whole orphanage and the children who live there and the guardian also. So he goes there, and when you do not have enough information and the only information that you have is scares you, the first interaction is not going to be a pleasant one, and that's what happens. But as he keeps living there, he spends some week there and he writes report. He understands that what this whole story is about, why they want him to write a report on this one. He writes a report and he sends it back to the Daikomi, and what they want to understand is, should this orphanage remain open or should this be closed? And it's not this simple. There are so many stories behind whatever is happening there. There are so many stories regarding the children who are living there, the guardian who's managing those children, and the orphanage. And it's kind of a predictable story, but still it gives you it evokes the right kind of emotion. At certain point you feel sad, you feel nervous that whether the right thing is going to happen with the children or not, or if Linus is going to find that excitement in his life. Is he going to get that kind of excitement in his life or not? So as I said, it's predictable, but still it's very cozy. It's a sweet novel, and I recommend reading this one. So this is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. The next book that I'm going to talk about, Tuesdays with Maury, and this is by Mitch Albom. This is a conversation between Professor Maury and Mitch Albom. Professor Maury is someone who really enjoys life. He loves living in the moment. He believes in enjoying every second of the life. He loves dancing, he loves eating food, he loves going out, living in the nature, but then he gets diagnosed with disease that is uncurable, and he is not dependent on the people around him. He is dependent on the nurses and the doctors. This is the conversation between Mitch, who was a student of Professor Maury, and he promised him that he will come back and keep visiting him, but he never visited. Now there was an interview that Professor Maury gave, in which he talked about his disease, and that aired on TV, which Mitch saw. And then he decides to go back and meet Professor Maury. Now this is the conversation between these two. They talk about every aspect of life, like love, like money, finances, career, and everything that you can think of. He possesses some questions, and Professor Mori answers all these questions. The good thing about this book is that everything that they have talked about, like if they are talking about money, it's only 2-3 pages, so you do not have to think about like reading a whole big chapter on this one topic. It's just 2-3 pages, then you can move on to the next one. You can read about finance, you can read about love, and that's what I really loved about this book. So you can see that the 6th Tuesday we talked about emotions, and then next one is about the marriage and everything. So yeah, that's what I really loved reading in this one. I think this book should be read by everyone, especially for the people who are feeling really low in their life and they are not able to see anything positive in their life, any positive aspect in their life. Because I think when someone who is talking, who is about to die, who has limited time on this earth, and he is telling you something from his perspective, that person becomes the most authentic source for talking about all these things, because he is about to die, and what does he has to fear? Why would he lie? He will tell you the most authentic things, and that's why I think this is such a good book to read. So yeah, this is Tuesdays with Mori. Let's talk about the next book, which is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. And Frederick Backman has also written A Man Called Ove, which is his most famous novel and very well received. But I have read only Anxious People by him, and I enjoyed reading this one. It's such a page-turner novel, never a dull moment in this book. There are so many characters, and every character has a backstory, and they all have been tied together so beautifully that you will enjoy reading this. This is about a bank robbery that happens or does not happen, and then that bank robbery turns into a hostage situation. This person who is doing the bank robbery is doing it for the first time, so he is not really good at it. So to escape from the police, he runs to this apartment where he expected it to be empty, but there were people who came there for apartment viewing just a day before the New Year Eve, which was unusual. He goes there, he finds some people there, he has a pistol, they are all held hostages there, and then all the story happens. There are characters like there is a couple who is expecting their first child, the woman is pregnant, and there is this elderly couple there who is trying to save their marriage. There is Zara who is visiting this therapist. There is also this elderly lady there. There is also a backstory of that therapist. There is this these two police officers who are father and son, and all these people have a story. They all have a story to tell, and you will never guess what's going to happen. When you think that it's predictable, it has some twist there. So as I said, it's a page turner. I enjoyed reading this one. Also I noticed that this author wrote in this particular way, like every sentences were metaphorical. He wrote the sentences in a way that he gave metaphorical references to everything. Initially I did not understand, like I took some time to understand that way he is writing, but once I understood, it was so beautiful to read. Like I ended up highlighting major part of the book. So yeah, if you want to read a book which is a page turner, then you can read Anxious People by Frederick Backman. So the next book is Sputnik Sweetheart by Murakami, and this is the first Murakami novel that I read. This is about this guy who is narrating this whole story. His name is Kay, and he is friends with this girl who aspires to be a writer. She is in her teenage years, and she writes very well, but she still feels that she's not that good in her writing. Like the emotions are not that good, or the stories are not coming across like they should be. And then she meets this woman who is in her 30s, and she falls for her. She starts working for her, and the aspiration to become a writer takes a backseat. They go to this island, faraway island, where they were working and holidaying also. But then one day she disappears. Now this woman in her 30s, whose name is Mew, she also has something special about her, like something weirdly special. Her hair turned grey overnight. How and why, what exactly happened with her, she explains in the part where she was trying to tell Kay that what exactly happened in her life when she was 14 years old and she used to play piano, but then her hair turned grey and she could never go back to being that self. Now Kay visits the island. He is trying to find his friend, but he understands very quickly that if something has happened to her, then maybe they will never be able to find his friend. But if she has gone, like she has disappeared on her own, she will come back if she wants to, or else no one will be able to find her. And that's the whole story. The magical realism part where Mew is explaining that what exactly happened to her, it's so beautifully written. I had to read it more than once to exactly understand that how can someone come up with that kind of idea, and how, like, what is it that makes them write it so beautifully. So that part was really beautiful. Also the way the loneliness has been described, the way the thoughts have been described, like when you are not thinking something, what exactly happens. So all these things are written really beautifully. So that part I really enjoyed reading in this book. And does she come back, or was she murdered, was she kidnapped, and all these things you get to know when you read the book. So Sputnik Sweetheart. Next one, which is The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and I really wanted to like this one. This is based on the story where the people were sent to the concentration camp, the Jewish people and some other people along with the Jewish people. They were sent to concentration camp. The concentration camp was not in a good condition, and the condition that all these people were living, it was so bad, like it will make you sad just when you read about it. But I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that I've read better books than this one that describes the whole scenario and the whole situation where people are in this gruesome situation where nothing right is happening to them. They are being tortured. There are atrocities happening on them. But this one was not that good. Such books should evoke the right emotions in you. Like I have read The Diary of a Young Girl, and you could see that what she was going through. She went into hiding, but still she wanted to live a normal life, and she knew that what's happening to her friends, to the people who are Jews and who are out there in the world, who are living in Germany and the area where Nazis are, and what's exactly happening to them. And unfortunately, this one was not the right book for me. At least I did not enjoy reading this one. Apart from the main characters, I felt empathy for all other characters in the book. It kind of felt like fairy tale. Not a fairy tale, I should not say that, but still it was very convenient. Like this guy, he enters the concentration camp, he becomes the tattoo artist. He is the one uh, who tattoos the number on the wrist of the prisoners, and then he escapes so many situations where he could have died. But the way it has been written, I don't think it was believable. He also falls in love with this girl there, and he's meeting her, but nobody is really able to catch them. I mean, it's based on a true story, but still, I don't think it's the writing or whatever it is. I don't think it was the right one that I read based on the war crimes and what happened to the people who were, you know, in the situation. So not this one, but yeah, if you want to read you can, but I will not recommend reading this one. So this was Tattooist of Auschwitz. Let's talk about the next book, which is Gachar Gochar by Vivek Shanpat. This one was originally written in Kannada and was translated into English by Srinath Perur. This is such an interesting story. It's only 108 pages and it's so crisp. It's like none of the moment are wasted. It does not feel rushed, but you have the right amount of information you need about the character, about the story. The story is being narrated by this guy who has a sister, a mother, a father, and an uncle. His father is very honest. He gets laid off from his job. Now they live in a very poor condition. They do not have enough money for food or for anything. But then after the father got laid off, the uncle started a business of Sona Masala, and then the business grew. But his way of doing the business was not the right one, the correct one that the father approves. But they started earning a good amount of money. They moved to this bigger house. Their financial condition improved, and none of the people then thought that there is anything wrong with the way he is doing. They never questioned his way of doing the business, not even the father. So now they have moved to this house where they are all living, and they have changed like someone who has never seen money. When they overnight get that kind of luxury, that kind of money, then something changes in them, and that's what happened to these people. The mother changed, the sister changed a lot, and not in a good way. And this all everything is being described in the story. And if you are someone who has lived in a village and then moved to the city, you will relate to a lot of things that has been mentioned in this book. So I really enjoyed reading this one. The end was like it's an open ending, and I was not expecting that kind of ending. This guy, he got married to this girl whose father is a professor, and they are a normal kind of family. So she gets married to him. She doesn't like before marriage she didn't know that he's not working, and he was not working because he's going to inherit everything, like the Sona Masala, the business, the money. He's going to inherit all of that money. So he was not working, but she didn't know all of that. And when she learned about the equation of this family, she was not really happy about it. One time she went back home, and then she was to return this day, but it's been 3 days that she has not returned, and the husband is now worried. Do read this book. It's such an interesting book. It's very crisp. It's such a good story, and I don't think I can say much about this book because it will reveal a lot of things here. But yeah, read the book. And also this cover, it's so good. This one has a significance. These ants, the saucer, the spilled tea, it all has some significance in the story. When you read, you will get to know that. So yeah, Gachar Gochar by Vivek Shankat. Let's talk about the next book, which is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I bought this book from book fair that I went to in August this year, and I wanted to buy Conversation with Friends and Normal People, but I got my hand on this one, and this was posted by so many people, and there were so many good reviews about this book. So I thought, yeah, okay, maybe I can read this one. But I'm so glad that I didn't buy the other two books. After reading this one, I realized that I don't want to read Sally Rooney anymore, and this was such a big mistake of buying this book. And at that time I also felt that you should not completely rely on the reviews and the pictures that are posted by people online. You should do your own research before buying the book. And I absolutely hated this book. Hate is such a strong word. I don't really think that people should use that word, but that's exactly how I felt about this book. It has no story, no plot line. I don't even know why this is written. Like, there is this character, this woman who is a published author who has traveled all over the world, but she falls for this guy who is a walking red flag. He has red flag all over him, and he is someone who is gaslighting her constantly, but she still wants his validation. Why do you want a validation? You are a published author. You have so many people who will just want to be with you. She has depression. She is taking medicines and all of that, and there is her best friend who just cannot decide whether she wants to be friends or wants to be in a relationship with her best friend. Like, there is a guy who is her best friend since childhood, and she is giving him mixed signals. Like, what is that guy supposed to do? How will he know? And then she ends up blaming him for everything, and he's the one who is taking care of her, and she also keeps telling him that, will you take care of me, will you take care of me? And this was just so bad. Like, all these women, they are not teenager, or they are not in their early 20s. If they were, it was still acceptable that you do not have experience and you are still learning in life, but you are in your 30s, you are well traveled. How can you do such thing? And also, these two women, they are best friends. For some reason, they don't talk on phone, they exchange emails, and those emails are about anything and everything. It's like they just wanted the reader to know that, I know about things, and you should know that I'm intelligent, I'm smart, so you listen to me from these emails. I want to talk about economics, I want to talk about politics, the environment, the beauty world, the fashion world, the clothing world, and everything that you can think of. Such a bad book. Never going to recommend anyone reading Sally Rooney. And when I say that I had hopes, like, I thought that maybe this is the only book that is so bad, but I went on to search about that book, and I read the reviews thoroughly, and I got to know that other two books are similar. Other two books by Sally Rooney are similar. So this is the first and last book that I read by Sally Rooney, and I'm not going to recommend or read her books anymore. So yeah, that was Beautiful World, Where Are You? Now let's move on to the next one, which is Norwegian Wood by Murakami. And this is the first book from where I started annotating, and I realized that I love annotating books, and I've been annotating since then. So this book is about this guy Toru, whose friend Kizuki died by suicide. Kizuki also had a girlfriend, Nako. Nako and Toru found comfort in each other. Like, they are not able to recover from what has happened to their friend, and they are living in the life, but they are they are living in the world, but they are alienated from everyone, and they find comfort in each other. They spend one day together, but after that, Nako disappeared. He tried to understand what exactly happened, like if he did something wrong to her, or she felt something that he had done is wrong. But he could not contact her, and he got to know some months later that she has been shifted to this place where she is being treated for her mental illness. So he understood that she was, she could never recover from her boyfriend's suicide, and she is living there, and he decides to wait for her because he really loved Nako. He realized that he is in love with her, and he decides to wait for her, but years pass, and still he is waiting. He is sad. He describes all the things that he's going through, how he's spending his days, if he has made any friends, how where he goes out, what he is eating, what he's doing in his day, and you will never get bored. You want to read that part. You want to live with Toru, whatever he is going through, whatever he is doing. And the thing is that he is building his future. He's imagining his future with Nako, and he's waiting for her. Then he meets this girl who has had a very not so easy past. Like, her childhood was not easy. Her mother died, and her father told her that it would have been better if you died instead of your mother. And she never had that kind of warmth. She could never feel that kind of warmth from her parents. And she's the one who is managing the business, the bookshop that they have. So they both meet, they bond together, and then he realizes that he also likes her. I think her name is, what's her name? I don't know. I am forgetting the name of that girl. But yeah, so whom does he choose? Whom does he really choose? Does he have any option in this? And he also feels that he is stuck. He feels guilty that, he's thinking about this new girl. He wants to be with her, but he still feels himself bound to that situation where he has written to Nako. He went there where she is being treated. He went there and he told her that, I'll wait for you to get better, and then we will live a normal life. Now, it's such a tragically beautiful book. The way it has been written, it will make you sad. You will feel the weight on your heart when you are reading it. And the story is also so beautiful that you will not want to skip this one. It will stay with you when you are done with the reading. But yeah, it's something that I will recommend everyone. The only thing that I didn't like in this book is the ending, where I think the two characters, they behaved in an unexpected way. Like, it was so out of character for them to do the things they do in the end, and I was not expecting. I mean, that's something that you just cannot expect. So except the ending, I think the whole book, the whole story, the character, the narration, everything, the writing was so perfect that I will still recommend reading this one. And at one point, when I was reading young adult romance, I thought that I am at a point in my life where I don't want to read young adult romance. And then I read this one. Toru is in his teenage years when all these things are happening. And after reading this one, I realized that it's not me, it's the writing that's there in those books that I've read, that made me feel that, I don't want to read young adult romance anymore. But it's this book that I think I will recommend. It's really good book. It's a really sad and yet beautiful book. So, Norwegian Wood by Murakami. Now let's talk about the next one, which is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, and this is the first novel by Jhumpa Lahiri. She mostly writes about the people who have moved to some other place, and this novel is also about that. There is this couple who has moved from Kolkata to some part of England, and they are raising their children there, but they want their children to embrace the Indian culture, to cherish the Indian tradition. But the children have mostly lived their life in the Western culture, and that is what they relate to most. And they are growing up, they don't feel any connection with the Indian culture, and that's what the most part of this novel is. The first part is where it describes that how that couple, the parents, are living and how they are settling there, what they feel about this land now where they are living, and how they miss their Indian land, their Indian culture, how they miss their family. And then the next part is about their son Gogol. His name is Gogol. Why his name is Gogol? And that name is used as a metaphor to describe that initially he liked it, but then as he grew, he felt very, he didn't like that name because he felt embarrassed about telling his name as Gogol, because he just didn't understand that why he was given that weird name. And then as he grew, he became adult, and things happened in his life. He went through certain experiences, certain incidents. He started embracing that name, he started loving that name, and that's exactly how what he felt about his traditions, his Indian traditions and the culture, and that's what this whole book is about. The thing is that I felt that it's written in a way, like, it's not written in an interesting way. It was boring for me, and I had to put a lot of effort into reading this one. The only reason, I think the story is compelling, but the writing is boring. Because of that, I was not able to finish. I mean, I finished this one, but it was really difficult for me to read it through the end. And I didn't want to like read about the characters or know more about the characters. I also felt that on some parts there the situation was escalating, but the payoffs were not worth the hype. I mean, it could have been better if those moments could have, leave an impression on you. Those moments had the capability of making this novel interesting, but nothing was done with those moments. So yeah, that is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. Do let me know if you have read this book. What are your thoughts on it? Because a lot of people loved this novel, and I don't, because it was boring for me. So yeah, The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. Let's move on to the next one, which is Kim Jong born 1982, which is written by Chu Nam Chu. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. And this is one of my favorite books from this year. I mean, the books that I've read this year. This book is about all the things that women go through, and I didn't like. I never wanted to relate with this book. I never wanted to like this book, but unfortunately, I loved this one because it has all the accounts of what women go through from childhood till the, till they become a mother, they, grow old. And you understand that women in every phase are going through something that they cannot talk about, and when they talk about, they are, misunderstood, they're not heard. And that's the account of, what women go through. This woman, she is born in 1982, and she talks about at that time in South Korea what is happening with women, how she gets blamed for something that she has no control over, how she gets slut shamed for things, and how there are no office policies, there is inequality based on genders, and there are male colleagues who are passing some snarky remarks that is indecent in nature. And when she confronts that male colleague, she said not to have good taste and joke, and she's spoiling the mood. So how do you really, go through with all of that? It's what is written in this book. It's like when you are you have to become a mother, you have to leave the job, and women do understand that they are needed there when there is a they have to take care of the child. In that moment they are needed there, but there are unsaid things that is mentioned in this book that you will understand only when you read it. And it's not only for women. I think that men should also read, and by that I do not mean that men do not understand, because I know, I have friends, I know people, I know men who understand the pain that women go through, but I still want them to read, to, to exactly know what women want to say. There is this woman who has taken her child to the park, where she just wants to enjoy her cold coffee. She is having this postpartum depression, and she wants to enjoy her coffee, but she gets shamed by a bunch of people standing there because she's enjoying the coffee. And it's everything. It's not just the things that I mentioned. So many more things are there that are unsaid, and that's why I want everyone to read this one, to understand that what exactly they go through. And most of the things they just cannot tell anyone, because they think that it's it's a trivial issue, but that is something that is weighing heavy on their heart. And when it becomes too much, it's something that you cannot bear anymore, and that is how you become depressed. So I loved reading this one, and this is one of my favorite reads this year, and this is the book that I will not stop recommending. So yeah, Kim Jong born 1982, and I will want to read what's written on the back of this book. Kim Jong is a sister made to share a room with her brother, while her brother gets one of his own. Kim Jong has started acting strangely. Kim Jong is her own woman. Kim Jong is depressed. is a wife who gives up her career and independence for a life of domesticity, is a model employee who gets overlooked for promotion, is a daughter whose father blames her when she is harassed late at night, is a girl born to a mother whose in-laws wanted a boy. Kim Jong is every woman. Let's talk about the next one, which is Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I love the cover of this book, and I made my last video was about the books, and my thoughts have changed about those books over time, and this was one of the books in that video. And this one I liked at the time when I read, but I think over the time it didn't age well according to me, because I think it was dragged a lot, the point was stretched a lot, and it was written in a very easy way. Like, the protagonist is depressed and she takes her life, and she ends up in this library where she has been given the chances of choosing that one life out of innumerous lives where she could be happy. And the point made that what makes you happy, I think that was not convincing enough, that was not believable enough for me. And I loved this concept of this endless library where you have these many options, where you can hover between lives and live that life, and if you feel that you are not enjoying that life, you can snap out of it. The whole plot, the whole theme was so good, but it was not executed in a good way, and that is why I don't think I like this book anymore. And yeah, the Midnight Library. Let's talk about the next one, which is the Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. This is also included in my latest video, in my last video that I posted. I am going to say the same thing again, that it didn't do anything to me. Like, I didn't hate it, I didn't like it. It should have done something to me, but it didn't. The story is based on this time travel concept where the person can go back to past and can, go to the future and meet someone they want to meet, for anything they want to, right? And there are little details that's given in the book, in the story, to make this believable. And there are 4 or 5 short stories based on this plot, on this theme, but it's just a simple story. It's a light read. I don't hate it, I don't like it. It's, I think, a forgettable one, and that's the only thing that I will say about this book. It's written very nicely in a simple language that is easy to understand. It's mostly dialogues between 2 people, but nothing extraordinary. So अब हम अगली किताब के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं, जो कि है एक हिंदी साहित्य, कौवे और काला पानी, जिसे निर्मल वर्मा ने लिखी है। इस बुक के लिए निर्मल वर्मा जी को एक अवार्ड भी मिला था। ये बुक जो है, इसमें 7 छोटी छोटी कहानियाँ हैं और हर कहानी एक दूसरे से बिल्कुल ही अलग है। अगर मुझे कोई बोल दे कि मैं इन 7 कहानियों में से कोई एक अपनी फेवरेट चूज़ करूँ, तो मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगी, क्योंकि मुझे सारी ही कहानियाँ बहुत ही अलग और बहुत बहुत अच्छी लगी हैं। तो जो पहली कहानी है, जितना मुझे याद है जब मैंने पढ़ी थी तब, तो पहली कहानी ऐसे, जैसे हम इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं कि एस्थेटिक वाइब्स हैं जिसकी, मतलब उसमें कोई ऐसा प्लॉट नहीं है, बट वो इस तरीके से लिखी है कि आपको वो पढ़ने में बहुत अच्छी लगेगी। जैसे कि आप धूप में बैठे हुए हैं और आप किसी को मतलब कोई सामने आपके बैठा हुआ है, आप उसको देख रहे हैं, आप कुछ सोचने लगते हैं, तो वो पूरा जो एक होता है कि आप सोच करके आप बहुत कुछ चीज़ें लिखने लगते हैं, आपके आसपास में क्या हो रहा है, आप मतलब आसमान कैसा है, आसपास में लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, वो सारी चीज़ें बहुत ही अच्छे से लिखी गई हैं। और बाकी कहानियाँ भी काफ़ी खूबसूरत है। मैं इसमें से मैंने काफ़ी सारा, जैसे यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि इसमें एनोटेट किया हुआ है। इनमें से एक जो है आखिरी कहानी में, मैं पढ़ के बताती हूँ कि मैंने क्या एक्चुअली में। हमारा परिवार और भाई बहन आखिरी मौके पर पहुंचकर क्यों हम सब रूखे डंठल से सूख जाते थे। सारा प्रेम कहीं राख और रेत में दब जाता था और हम एक दूसरे को अपनी हालत पर छोड़कर अलग हो जाते थे। क्या यह उदासीनता अपने में पाप नहीं थी? क्या इसी पाप से आतंकित होकर उन्होंने घर नहीं छोड़ा था? ये इसमें से एक है, मतलब जो आखिरी कहानी मैंने पढ़ी थी उसमें से मैंने इसको हाईलाइट किया हुआ था। पर बहुत सारी हैं, बहुत ही सारी अच्छी अच्छी लाइनें हैं इस किताब में जो लिखी हुई हैं। मैं कहूँगी आप भी पढ़िए। अगर आप हिंदी साहित्य पढ़ना स्टार्ट करना चाहते हैं तो ये बहुत ही अच्छी किताब है, क्योंकि छोटी छोटी कहानियाँ तो बहुत ज़्यादा, ऐसा भी नहीं होगा कि नहीं आपको किताब ख़त्म करने में मुश्किल हो रही है। और एक चीज़ है, जैसे हिंदी मैं बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ती हूँ किताबें। अब आजकल इंग्लिश में ही पढ़ने का वो है ना, जैसे स्कूल वगैरह में होता था, सब्जेक्ट्स होते थे तो आप हिंदी की किताब पढ़ लेते थे। लेकिन आजकल क्या है कि आपको इतनी ज़्यादा आदत नहीं रह जाती है, तो मुझे थोड़ी सी मुश्किल हो रही थी शुरू में इसको पढ़ने में, क्योंकि जो हम आपस में बात करने में जो हिंदी बोलते हैं वैसी हिंदी नहीं है। इसमें कुछ कुछ शब्द हैं जो हम रोज़ की बातचीत में नहीं इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो थोड़ा मतलब 3-4 अगर आप पन्ने पढ़ लेंगे तो एक आदत बन जाएगी, एक वो जो कहते हैं ना फ्लो बन जाता है, वो हो जाता है, तो उससे थोड़ा सा आसान हो जाता है। पर हाँ, बहुत ही अच्छी किताब है, बहुत ही अच्छी कहानियाँ हैं। और निर्मल वर्मा, कौवे और काला पानी, ज़रूर पढ़िए। और ये थी वीडियो, एंड दीज वर दी बुक्स दैट आई रेड इन 2023। और कैसा लगा आपको ये वीडियो? इफ़ यू लाइक दिस वीडियो, do let me know in the comment section. If you have read any of these books, do comment. And yeah, these were the books that I have physical copies of, and there are other books that I read online, so I will make a separate video for that one. और अभी के लिए इतना ही है, अगली वीडियो में मिलते हैं। Till then, bye bye.